Hi, during our live stream last night, one of our viewers asked me, I was pointing out some of the errors that cutmen were making, and I mentioned that I've noticed that some of the cutmen make errors when they wrap fighters' hands for in these UFC bouts, because sometimes they'll give you a little footage of the change room, and so. In response to one of our viewers' questions about what are these errors, I'm going to show you how I wrap my hands. Now, granted, I'm going to use hand wraps, not gauze and tape, but the principles are the same. So, step one, because these are hand wraps, right, and not gauze and tape, step one, you do have to roll the wrap up so that the Velcro part is on the inside. So when you buy them, the Velcro part will be on the outside. So you have to unroll the whole wrap and then reverse roll it back up. So what I do is I always flip the Velcro part towards the other Velcro part. So both Velcros are on the same side. So I'm gonna roll this up and I'll be right back with you. Now the main difference between using a hand wrap or one of the differences and using gauze versus tape is that the hand wrap comes with the thumb loop, so we're going to start with the thumb. Whereas gauze and tape, some cutmen will just start, and even some fighters, I do this when I wrap my own hands. I start at the knuckle area. But for the purpose of this demonstration and the general principles about wrapping your hand, it doesn't matter because the general principles are the same whether you start at the wrist or you start at the knuckles. Okay, so with this hand wrap, I'm going to go over my thumb. I'm going to keep my whoop on just because I keep it on 24/7. So you start with the thumb. And here's one of the first principles. You always go from inside to outside. And what I mean by that is you're always going from the thumb side of your hand to the pinky side of your hand. That's one of the main errors I see these cutmen making. They're going from the pinky side of the hand to the thumb side of the hand. Totally wrong. Okay, so I go over here. The second principle is you always cross on the back side of your hand. You do not make a cross on the palm of your hand. So here I just went across. Now I'm going to go around the knuckles a couple times. And at this point, the fighter should be spreading their fingers as wide apart as they can. You do not want your fingers to be shut here because otherwise the wrap is going to be too tight. So spread your fingers as wide as you can. Okay, so I'm going to go around the knuckles because the purpose of the wrap is to protect the knuckles. So I'm going to go around 4 times. You have to figure out how many times to go around. It just depends on the size of your hand. Again, fingers are still spread wide. Now you see how I'm making the X across the back of my hand? There's the other leg of the X. So now I'm going back here, coming around, underneath. Now I'm going up through my 2 fingers, coming down, around, hooking underneath the thumb. I just went through the pinky and the ring finger. Now I'm going through the pinky and the middle finger. Down around underneath the thumb and finally between the index finger and the middle finger. Okay, so I've made 2 or 3 vertical loops, so to speak. And again, I'm coming down underneath the thumb. I'm going to go around my wrist again, up to catch the thumb. Come around, back up towards my pinky finger here, come around once more, just, again, keeping the fingers spread as far apart as possible, back around by the index. Again, I'm going from inside, meaning the thumb, to the outside. I made another sort of X here, and finally I'll just finish off. You could go around the thumb again if you like. I don't really like to do that, so I'll just go around the wrist a few more times. And that's it. But the 2 key principles were you're always wrapping around from the thumb side of the hand to the pinky side of the hand. The other thing is you never have an X across the middle of your palm. You want most of the padding to be up here by the knuckles. Now this is a little too much in the sort of middle area here, but I just wanted to show you a very simple way to wrap your hand. This is actually not how I choose to wrap my hands for myself. I'll start at the knuckles and put more padding up here, and it results in there being less material in the sort of center of my palm. But those are the two key principles. You do not have an X on the palm of your hand, and you always go from the thumb side to the outside. So this is the error I see MMA cut men making, is they're going the other way around. And I've seen MMA fighters do that also. They go from the pinky to the thumb side of their hand. I'm not sure why they do that, but in my opinion, here's why you do that. Because it's going counter to the way you're rotating your fist, right? You're not gonna rotate your fist like this, right? You're gonna rotate your fist, so as we say, you're turning the knuckles over as you throw a punch. If you're holding your fist like this, as it's extending and hitting whatever, the bag or your opponent, the knuckles turn this way. They're rotating. And so you're rotating into your wrap. If you were rotating and the wrap was going the other way, you'd be rotating with the wrap and the wrap would get looser. But this way I'm rotating into the way the wrap went, so it's just gonna stay secure. I hope that makes sense to you guys. It's one of those things that you would have to experience on your own to sort of prove it to yourself if you wanted to do it the incorrect way, and then just see at the end of your practice how loose your wrap got. I'm just not going to do that because I want to wrap my hands the right way and protect my knuckles. But so that's it. The two main principles for wrapping your hands: do not cross your palm. You cross across the back of your hand. That's because you want to secure all these metacarpals in your hand. You have 150 bones in here, and you want to keep those secured. Second thing is make sure you're going from inside to outside, just to keep the wrap secure throughout the course of your workout or your fight, right? And finally, of course, you want to have the majority of the padding up here on the knuckles, because that's what you're trying to protect. You're trying to protect the knuckles, and you're trying to secure the wrist. That's the purpose of having your wraps. You want to spread the fingers when you're going around the knuckles, because if you close your hand like that, I guarantee you your wrap is going to be too tight and you're going to wind up hurting yourself. If wraps are too tight, you wind up injuring your hand, because as you make the fist, this expands a little bit, and then if it's too tight, it's compressing these bones, and then when you go to hit something, it's going to hurt. So it's sort of defeating the purpose of doing the wrap in the first place. So make sure you keep your fingers spread when you're going around this area of the knuckles. All right, so I hope that adds a little clarification to for you about just the general principles of wrapping your hands. There's tons of videos, I think, on YouTube about how to wrap your hands. There's no necessary, better way or worse way. The best way is the way you can do, because you need to wrap your own hands. You shouldn't be waiting for the trainer to wrap your hands. That's like waiting for your mommy and daddy to tie your shoelaces, before you can go outside. Unless you want to just buy those kinds of shoes that have Velcro. I mean, you need to know how to tie your shoelaces, right? Well, it's the same thing with wrapping your hands. You need to know how to wrap your own hands so you can start your workout. That's just one of my things. I know some people think that they're special because they wait around and get a trainer to wrap their hands. And it's like, okay, look, when you're a professional and your manager buys you gauze and tape, which is expensive. It's like about $4 or $5 worth of gauze and tape every time you wrap your hands. Now, if your manager is going to buy that for you and your trainer is going to wrap your hands with gauze and tape every single practice, then that's great. But most of us are not at that level, as we say. So you need to learn how to wrap your own hands. All right. If you have any questions about hand wrapping or any comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video or got some value out of it, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you know when our next video comes out. If you'd like to be part of our membership, just click the join button, and for $2.99 a month right now you can have early access to our long form videos. You can be part of our membership only polls to help drive the content of the channel, and you can have a say in where we make our 10% donations with every revenue payout from YouTube. All right, so I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. See you the next time.